Hi, thank you all. I'd like to bring up to the stage director Diane Tsai. Hi, thank you for being
Hi.
here, Diane.
Wow. I just wanted to start off by just thanking everyone for being here. As you might know, the process of making a film um, can take years and uh, is full of challenges. And it's just so surreal to be here tonight in a theater, in person, with all of you, and to just sit here and think, wow, we made a film. um, so yeah, this is my first feature. This is the world premiere. So I'm I'm gonna remember this moment. So thank you so much for being a part of it and for supporting us.
Sweet. And thank you so much for being here at Doc NYC and sharing it for the first time. I'd really love to hear how this project first started and how you met the O'Learys.
Yeah, so this film actually came out of a project from Time back in 2018 when we did an issue dedicated to the opioid crisis that Paul here oversaw. And so I first did a short video piece about Jen and what it was like for her to give birth and to worry about giving birth to a baby born in withdrawal. And she happened to be living with this really extraordinary family. And so, yeah, I remember going in. Paul had told me a little bit about the family, and I had my own ideas of what a home like this would look like. And I'll never forget walking in their door. The kids came up to hug me. They were spontaneously bursting into Disney songs. They were all having a family dinner together. And it was just so different from anything that I expected. And it really just was eye-opening for me to think about, yeah, what's possible when we say, you know, we care about issues like the opioid crisis and how much one person can really do. So,
Thank you. Another thing that I found very remarkable is the balance you hold of showing this family coming together, opening up their home to those that are in recovery, but to also show kind of the hard moments and to actually have so many of the young people, their younger family members, be so open on camera about their own experience. And I wonder, how you develop that relationship with them to have them like open up because it felt like such an intimate view of their own inner world that they maybe weren't sharing with their own mother.
yeah, it was definitely something that made me want to do the film from the beginning. Then, when I first met the kids, I just thought they were so incredible, and I wanted to know more about their upbringing and how this really informed their worldview. And while I was filming, I thought a lot about what it means for children to give informed consent to be part of the film. And I was constantly asking, like, do they understand what they're doing? And I think it really helped that we had that first video piece for Time. They got a little famous in their town, and everybody kind of understood better what it means once they talk about their family and once it's out there in the world for other people to see. So that was kind of the starting point of it. And yeah, so once they saw the video, I started noticing little changes. Like, if you'll notice in Autumn's interview, she doesn't name certain people by name. And you might think as a filmmaker, it's not really ideal once people are aware of the camera. But for me, that was a sign to me that the kids did have this awareness of what we were doing and that we were making a film. But it was definitely a hard balance sometimes because we did create a great friendship, and they often told me that they saw me as part of the family. So I really did wrestle with that a lot of times when I had conversations with the kids. They were being so open with me. Sometimes they even forgot the camera was there. And so afterwards in the edit room, I would really think about, okay, were they telling this to me as a friend? Were they doing this because we were making the film, and trying to grapple with how to treat that with integrity?
Yeah, and going into that, what was that process like in editing of working together and trying to find that balance? And also, trying to show, I feel like this film really shows the nuance of everyone's experience, and it's not perfect.
I think what you are describing, what you picked up on, was that the participants in this film were extraordinarily generous with us, like Jen especially, but the entire family were extraordinarily generous. And I think for us working on the film, we took that as a big responsibility. And that is how we approached working with their material.
Right. Thank you. I'd also just like to know, the film ends at 2020. I'm not quite sure when, but staying in touch with them, how were the O'Learys affected during COVID, and how that maybe impacted what they were doing in the community?
Yeah, so we did film part of the film during COVID, and one really incredible thing that we couldn't include in the film just because of time was how they actually really ramped up their efforts to help the community. And there's a food pantry in their neighborhood that they usually volunteer at once a month, but once COVID hit, they had almost no volunteers. And so the family actually leaned into it and started going 5 days a week, volunteering, handing out food, which I thought was really admirable.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. Since we have this lovely audience here, I'd like to see if anyone in the audience has questions.
And I'm so sorry. Before we do that, I just want to say so much of the team is here tonight, and obviously it took an amazing group of people to make this film possible. So I just want to take a quick second to, if you're here, if you could just please stand. So our executive producer, creative advisor, Erica Sashin. Executive producer, Becky Title, Justine Simons, Jonathan Woods. Our additional editor, Aaron Koseg. Co-producer, Francesca Triani. Post-supervisor, Sebastian. And head of production, Alexa Conway. I feel so lucky to have worked with all of you. So, yeah, that's a great question. That was another reason why I was so interested in making a film about this family, because from the moment I met them and I saw the way they were really living out their values, that was the first question that popped in my head, where I was like, what am I doing? Especially when I went back to my own home. Sometimes it was a little overwhelming being in that house, and I was so relieved at the end of the day to go back to my own safe, quiet space, and then to remember that Lydia doesn't have that. She has really sacrificed that. And it's something that we've all talked about in this whole process. I think it's definitely not for everyone. It takes a lot of experience, but it definitely, really opened up my understanding of what's possible when you want to make a difference. Do have to say, while I was filming it, it was a huge learning experience for me to see what it was like to film in this house full of people with so many characters. And in a lot of my early footage, I think you can see the camera kind of roaming around because there's always something happening in the other part of the room. There's always background noise, and I had a hard time thinking, like, how do you create a scene when people are just coming in and out and so much is happening? But I think later on, that really helped when we wanted to create this sense of like what the house is really like. And I really couldn't help but want to follow everyone's journey and perspective, because it just brought so much nuance into what they're doing as a family. In terms of deciding what to actually put in the film, that was a very long process of storyboarding. And I really loved the creative collaboration with Sunita and Erica. We spent so much time just arranging, rearranging, and trying to figure out how to get from one story to the next. Yeah. Is there anything you want to say?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot that's important that's not in the film. There were so many fascinating individuals that live in the house, and everybody came with a story that had a lot, just from a storytelling perspective, a lot of stakes, a lot to think about. And we struggled with that a lot, but there was also like some repetition between stories. So then it became kind of like, Rich becomes representative of many people who maybe didn't quite make it in the house the way that Jen did, And Jen is representative of many people that did. So that was part of it.
I wish I had a sound person. For the majority of the film, it was just a one-person shoot, just me behind the camera, which was, also really challenging, but it was really important in terms of me building a relationship with the family, feeling like I could drop in or out whenever I wanted, and to not, and especially in the really deeply vulnerable, emotional moments, I was really glad that it was just me and that we had built this strong relationship. Because especially with Jen, my biggest fear was putting more pressure on her in those difficult moments and adding to that. So, yeah. Yeah, I feel like it was a huge privilege that I was able to witness these incredible transformations in people's lives. That's definitely something I saw firsthand, where earlier in the process we would have conversations about, okay, but like, what is their success rate? Can we actually measure that impact? And to look back at when we were having that conversation till now, and I was just, when Lydia watched the film, we went through the list of people who show in the film, and we didn't have time to get into their stories, but almost all of them are doing well. And I actually just had one of them last month reach out to me to say, I really want you to know I'm doing so well now, and this is because of Jim and Lydia. And she was somebody I had been trying to track down for months, could not get a hold of her. I was really worried about her. And so to have her, follow up and tell me this 3 years after she's lived in that house was really powerful to see.
Thank you. Do you have before we go, any final thoughts you'd like to share with the audience?
I would just love to share a little update from Jen. I asked her, she really wanted to be here tonight, but I had her send a little note. So I promise I didn't tell her to say this. She said, "The film Diane made is impressive." It was definitely an intense feeling watching it. All the footage she recorded, seeing it after not for so long, brought back a lot of feelings. The opening scene of the O'Learys having their yearly discussion with the kids, I knew they did that, but I've never actually seen it or heard what they say. And to be able to actually hear what the kids have to say was awesome. This family, my family, are so kind, caring, loving, non-judgmental, and that was something very big to me. To see where I was then to now, thank you, God. Jim and Lydia and the kids and God, I wouldn't be where I am now if it wasn't for all of them. Before moving into Jim and Lids, I never thought I'd be able to function without some kind of substance in my body. I didn't think I'd be able to keep my daughter. I didn't think I'd get my son back. I never thought I'd be able to support myself or my kids. Now I'm at a point in my life where all of the things that seemed possible have actually come true. I am now not on any substances and haven't been for years. I have both my son, Nicholas, and my daughter, Braylee. Both are healthy and happy. We live in a beautiful home with a roommate who also used to live at Jim and Lids. I am now a medical assistant and recovery support worker in the process of becoming certified. I work for CMC's Healthcare for the Homeless with a community of people that I absolutely love working with. I am forever grateful for all the love and support. And I really hope that people will see from this film that recovery and a life after addiction is 100% possible.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for all being here.